What's happening, everybody? It is time for The Truth Will Set You Free, episode number Too Many. We're on 204. We've got a special guest filling in for the black man for right now. Bobby Sauce in the building. Cash is back on cash time today, but he should make it at one point. He's apparently at the grocery store spending too much money on inflated groceries. But while we've got a special guest in the cash spot, Bobby, if people don't know who you are, they're living under a rock. But with that said, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
I am a web developer that in 2020 made a video that went viral because I was making fun of all of these literal demons. And account grew overnight, made a ton of videos after that, and now I make political comedy videos and still web develop on this beast back here, and I just yell about how these demons are demons, and that's my job basically.
Like this video, share this video, do all things with this video, guys. But if you don't already follow Bobby on all the different social medias, it's Bobby Sauce. Go to @TakeNaps on Instagram. He does, with all the influencers that are out there today creating content, one thing that Bobby does differently is he definitely doesn't give a shit about pleasing the ridiculously radical right as much as he is obviously on the same team as us, but he will speak the truth of what he believes and what his opinions are. He also doesn't care about the whole short form, must be under a minute and a half. Like, he'll have some really great 5, 7, 8 minute videos that are really, really good. What's been the content the last couple days if people are going to go look at your stuff?
Well, I've been doing a lot of like splicing videos. I don't like do just reaction videos, which I see a lot of people do, but I've been basically like rebutting lies by cutting into the video that somebody puts out. So I put out like this real 8-minute long banger today of Joy Reid or Misery Reid or a Serpent Demon, the Serpent Demon Joy Reid today that I thought was really good. And I've been really like absolutely destroying Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. I've been really, really coming for her the last few days. A lot of like Diddler related things and Diddler related comedic gems, and I come for Krusty, and I made a video about her free money and weed for black people policy she just came out with. So just like dismantling the demons like at all times.
Free money and weed. That sounds a little bit like, well, how they started putting drugs into the black community. Same thing, and that went over really well. So let's see how this works and this turnaround. Emily, go ahead and say hello to everybody. What have you been up to? Looks like you're in a different studio today.
Yeah, I got a nice cowhide rug behind me. I have just been living the Texas life. Outside working with horses. It's honestly been a really nice break. Of course, still working on my political science degree, doing a lot of reading, trying to stay sane. That's about it.
Love it. Casey, what's crazy? I got to see Casey this last week at BYU. I was out there for Fox Big Dune kickoff. I had an absolute blast. But the kids at BYU, and we can have a whole discussion about Mormons and religion and all this stuff. First off, it's the only time that it's 90-something% sober students. Nobody seemed like they've been drinking. There was no alcohol around. They camped out overnight. There's something to be said about kids, even if you disagree with the Mormon side of the Christian faith, that have a adherence and belief in God. These were some of the nicest kids you have ever seen in your life, excited to be there. I had we all agreed, everybody from Fox and the producing crew was like, this was such a different experience because the kids were so much fun. And Casey got to see me do my thing and be a part of it. So it was pretty fun. So good to see you, Casey.
Yeah, likewise. It was good to see you do your craft and actually put everything together. Like, I knew you just screamed into a microphone, and it's like, okay. And he'll not have a voice for the next 48 hours.
Which is true.
Rinse and repeat every 7 days. But it was awesome. So how big was the crowd compared to what you guys were expecting? Was it 75%?
No, they close. We were thinking 3,000 to 4,000. They're estimating it at 2,300 for this week, which is our biggest week one of the biggest weeks we've ever had, if not the biggest, where we didn't have a musical act. So kudos to the crowd for that. It was a pretty big crowd. But yeah, it was a little smaller than they were hoping for. But, I mean, from the overhead cameras, it looked really, really good. So it didn't really matter. There's also some Trump signs in the audience, which was it's different than also some of the college campuses. But you said that BYU is becoming a little bit more liberal.
Well, it's just natural what's happening here. Like in Salt Lake, it's starting to grow to be more liberal, and it's growing to the outer skirts. And Utah County is the next biggest county next to Salt Lake County, so it's moving that direction.
Crazy, because it just seemed very conservative. But
do the Mormons drink? Like, do they drink, or do they just have like soda pops and like popcorn, or what?
Mountain Dew is their extent of drinking.
Hell yeah.
No, Bobby, there were some of the signs were great because like they're big on making signs, and some of them were we pre-gamed with Dr. Pepper. There's also some good soaking jokes in there. Do you know what soaking is?
No.
Mm-mm.
Shut up.
What the hell is soak? How would I know?
Yeah, I'd have never heard this.
Yeah, what is
Oh
that?
my God.
That sounds like soaking tampons in alcohol and putting it in your clam. Isn't that what they do?
It's similar but very different.
No, that's a real thing, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that people did that.
I've heard of
Yes,
that.
it is
yeah.
actually. Well, they
Heard of it.
LPGA golfers have been known to take chewing tobacco and put it in between their toes and like do a cut because they can't be on TV with whatever.
Oh, does that
Anyway.
work? I don't even know.
So this soaking is a little bit different because they're not supposed to have sex, and again, there's rumors whether or not this is a true thing or whether it was a joke. So soaking is where you put it in and you don't move it around, and they don't count it as sex. It's like the modern day anal.
What the fuck is that? Wait, like dip your pen 15 in there and then you just don't move it?
Exactly.
Ah.
And then there's this thing.
I'd rather
where
do nothing then.
You can get your roommates to jump on the bed so that it creates movement and it's not
What?
you doing the movement.
You're fucking with me now.
You just
There's
made this up.
I didn't. Casey, help me out.
There's some truth to this. Like there's.
What do you
people-
mean? What do you mean?
We're talking about Mormons here, guys.
Wait, so there's a Mormie, so there's a Mormie and a Mormie receiver on a bed, and then someone's just jumping there next to them?
I think the jumping on the bed thing is the story has gotten like I think that's a thing that I think is kind of part of the joke, but it is like the soaking thing is kind of this real. It's a real enigma. If you look it up in Urban Dictionary, you'll see it. There were signs that people made saying "Welcome to Soak City."
Ah.
I
Imagine
just looked it up on Wikipedia. Yeah, it's legit.
Imagine if you do soak, like that. First of all, it's insane. But like, imagine if you did, but just to be so proud of it that you carry a sign around of it. That's like next level. Just drink alcohol. Just like drink alcohol and like do like an over the jeans HJ or something, right? Isn't that better?
I feel like they do. I feel like that's like level one, and then soaking is like the final level, and then somebody tells them the next day, like, "Hey, just so you know, that's actually having sex." And you're like, "Damn it."
Yeah, so you're like putting a rubber on and then just docking it in there and just that's it. Oh, whatever. Let's stop talking about this. This is fucking creepy, dude.
I like the word docking. That's
Do you know what docking is? Do you know what docking is?
Well, I mean, I could assume it's like a boat. You dock.
No.
Oh,
no.
what's docking?
You don't know what docking really
Now
is?
I need to know what docking is.
Oh, it's when you put a penis inside an uncircumcised penis and they're together to one. You dock it in.
Oh.
Yeah, look it up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really gross.
Oh, you know what? I think I heard Tim Walz talking about that.
He's docked, dude. He's docking. He's docking with the
Do you think he's
defensive line. I don't know. I really we're off the rails here, but
I'd rather not.
I don't want to know, but docking is real.
Wow, interesting. All right, so speaking of docking, on the docket today, we're going to be talking a little bit about Columbus Day, the historical recognition, or is it time for a time? I think everybody knows my belief from last year, if you actually are still watching from this. Regardless, we'll talk about the whole Columbus Day philosophy. Now, Kamala has a new opportunity agenda, trying to just get those black men back over to her with free money and weed. Awesome. Joe Rogan rumors, Kamala, Krusty, Kamala, whatever, and Trump are both potentially going to be on the Joe Rogan Experience. And then we'll talk about the rumors surrounding Tim Walz right now and the 14-year-old student story. Casey's got some interesting information from a tech trail that he wants to present because I find it interesting myself. But we'll go ahead. Let's start with those rumors, the Tim Walz 14-year-old rumors that are now being. On Friday night, I got a bunch of messages saying, "Are you seeing this? Is this the October surprise?" There's a guy by the name of Black Insurrectionist that's sharing them, not Cash, by the way, different insurrectionist and different Black guy.
That's funny.
We can speak ill of him because he's very late. He's on CPT. But with that, Casey, I'll let you before Bobby, what do you think? What have you thought to this point about that story about Tim Walz?
I've done no research about it.
You've heard about it.
I heard rumblings of sorts, but generally speaking, with stuff like this, I tend to give it time to marinate and focus on the things that are provable that I can see. Obviously, to me, the more salacious story is the Doug Emhoff story about his ex-girlfriend that he had supposedly slapped her in public. And the other thing that was absolutely mind-blowing that I listened to yesterday was a 3-hour interview with Harmeet Dillon on Tucker Carlson, where she basically dismantled her entire career, like her origin story. That to me is way more salacious than that. Who knows if that shit's real? I'm sure we'll find out soon, but I didn't really look into it much yet.
So before Casey gets into it, with the Tim Walz stuff, I saw it and I read it, and I always like when I see something that emotionally gets me or gets anybody, like, oh, this is a big deal. It usually means it's garbage. It usually means that it's something created by man in order to try to sway different opinions and do different things. With that said, part of me goes, Tim Walz a story like that can never be truly proven. They'll find a way to shuffle it under the rug. But the fact that it even came out at this point, if there is any truth to it whatsoever, and I've always said that he gives me Jerry Sandusky vibes, to be very clear. I get that from him. So it's not super far-fetched of it being possibility in my mind. But I think we're seeing Walz fall apart on a national level. And right now the Democrat Party realizes the only way they can win this election is with Pennsylvania. So my conspiratorial brain goes, are they allowing this to happen so that they can find a last minute okey doke, which again breaks all rules of democracy and should be the end for the Democratic Party, but maybe it's not, because when you've got the media on your side, who knows? Maybe this is their way to get Josh Shapiro back into the seat that I think that they're regretting that they did not have him in the first place as the VP candidate, giving them a chance at Pennsylvania. Because right now, all odds are shifting towards Donald Trump. That's the only reason that part of me could believe this story, or that I think that the Democrat Party might be okay with it getting released because it gives them a reason to pull him. I don't know. Emily, before we give Casey the full detail of what he believes from a tech trail, what do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of with you guys on this, that when something like that pops up, let it kind of sit I almost said soak for a few days. Let it just sit for a few days and kind of see what else comes out. Because I mean, it seems like these days, especially with the Redditor post, even if it's something that benefits our side, I'm just like, I don't know about that. Like, let's just actually see, because it's so easy for someone to just go on Reddit and type something insane in, and then everyone believes it. And I think we just can't be so quick to jump at every news story we hear and need to do our fact checking.
Yep.
All right, Casey, break it down for us.
Yeah, well, a quick rundown. It's a story that supposedly Tim Walz, or allegedly, has met with a 14-year-old that he was a student at a school that he was a part of, took him to a Indiegogo concert, and a whole bunch of inappropriate things happened between a 14-year-old and him. There is also some things that are said.
Just to be clear, it was Indigo. It was Indigo Girls, right? Not Indiegogo, which I believe is an app.
Yeah, it's like a fundraising app, isn't it?
So it was an Indigo Girl.
It's
fake news.
It's music. It's a musical group. I don't know how
Indigo
to describe
Girls.
it.
All right, go ahead.
But anyways,
which is already gay. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's questionable things there, but this guy supposedly met up with this person. The thing that gave this some credibility instantly for me is there was some very true, very definition of a tattoo being on a thigh, some scar marks that are underneath clothes that only somebody would know if they were ever intimate. Those are usually some good indicators. Now, the problems that I see with this is when we start talking about these emails that are coming out, and I'm going to share my screen here and I'm going to show you what I'm referring to. am going to share the whole screen so I can move through the tabs. So here's one of the emails that was shared. This is where I say things get super sketch and questionable. And Bobby, keep me honest here on any technological stuff that I could be speaking wrong about. But this is an email that is sent. The part that we need to be paying attention to is not necessarily the content of an email, but look at the format of the date. It says sent Thursday, August 8th, comma, 2024, comma, time. If we go and look at some of these other emails, it didn't this one now has a comma after Thursday. When you send an email with a system or you copy it out, you're going to copy the formatting the same. So this is telling me it's a human error in these emails because this is the proper format in emails that are being sent. It will be the date, comma, the actual number date, and then comma, year, comma, time. This one doesn't have it. We can come back to another email. As you can see here, when there is no date, it's just comma after the number date. We come back here to Proton Mail, which is where that email is coming from. You can see down here, Wednesday, comma, date. And so we start getting into where there's questionable things being done from a technological standpoint, that if this person is copying and pasting out, it should be the same on every single one. If they are taking screenshots, it would be exactly the same on every single one. This is where it's starting to get super sketch. There's also other issues with the formatting of the text that are in the emails. They don't all start on the same line. It's a little wavy on the first line of each throughout the body of the email. So it doesn't just all left justify. These are technological issues that you usually will run into if you're just free typing and trying to mimic it yourself instead of just take screenshots. And this is where I don't give this story any credibility because this shouldn't deviate at all.
Interesting. What do you, Bobby? As much as you don't play a nerd on TV. You're kind of a nerd in terms of stuff like this. What do you think about that assessment from Casey?
I am. I mean, I understand pretty much like almost every aspect of the internet as far as websites and sending emails. Most of that stuff is concerned. I think that those are, I would say, there's nothing inaccurate about what he said. So I think that that's a reasonable conclusion to draw. But I also don't see any other indicators from those screenshots that is actually even in fact an email. Like if you look at you could make that in Notepad. So like if you were really trying to fake an email, like by changing the date, for example, very, very basic Photoshop skills. You could go into Gmail, send an email to yourself. You know, you could use a font picker and screenshot the font and match the exact font. You could drag it, like you could do a better job. Those don't even look like screenshots of real actual emails. They look literally like Notepad docs. So if that's what's being presented as the supposed evidence, it sounds like bullshit to me.
Yeah. Well, there's the full written statement with full detail of the scars and the tattoo and stuff like that, but it's just randomly on this blank text. Like there's nothing else. So can't give that any credibility. It could have just been typed up in Word and posted.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I think that, sometimes when you want things to be true, you're willing to overlook things. Much like a person like in a relationship with a cheater will overlook some glaring issue because they want the relationship to work. The same thing goes for this. And I saw this happen a lot in between Election Day 2020 and Inauguration Day 2020, where people were showing screenshots from these like 4chan or Reddit posts, and they're like, look, Q posted 4 years ago that there was an upside down flag in this video. And it's like, it's like I can look at this with the naked eye and see that this shit is copy and pasted, and also you're dumb. So I just don't buy it. I believe it's highly probable that Tim Walz is a diddling freakazoid, but this certainly doesn't bring me to that conclusion.
See, I think it's unfortunate because I think there is some kind of truth to this story, and I think that there might be manipulating these emails to do, like, because they're like, we need evidence. So they're like, because there is apparently there is some kind of real paper trail that him and his wife took this 14-year-old boy to that Indigo Girls concert. There's apparently some evidence and proof to that is real. Now, all the other stuff is what they're trying to prove. So it's kind of like, are they trying to manufacture a paper trail that never existed? That could be the problem.
I think the reality is, bro, is that none of this shit matters, sadly. If you have photos of Hunter Biden doing crack with underage prostitutes in China on his own verified computer that was verified by the FBI, and literally nothing happened, and photos of credit cards with Malia Obama's name on it with white subs, like, they can do whatever they want. So, like, even if this is true, it's like it basically is a nothing burger at this point. And like I said, the Doug Emhoff stuff seems to me way more validated, way more accurate, way more relevant even than that. So I believe that it's possible, but it's.
What do you think about the
waste.
rumors with Dougie Doug, and the ties to BlackRock's investments in lithium? Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard about that specifically.
I heard something, but not any details. But I did hear that.
So I did a little back research on this one. I was trying to see if I didn't know if you guys knew about it, but it's hard to people that are like, this is the problem with our side, as you know, just as much as our issues we have with the left, is they'll find something and they'll run with it. Doug Emero made over $1 million a year being a lawyer, and he did a lot of investments. He sounds like he made a decent amount of money in investments, probably was able to cheat a little bit, as with everybody like Nancy Pelosi. That's fine. So he's invested in BlackRock. BlackRock obviously has some big investitures into lithium mines or not lithium mines, lithium deposits, not mines because they're not mines yet, in the North Carolina area. That has been proven as true for the most part. People are talking about how the storm was engineered and went there and all that stuff. In terms of him being strictly invested in the portion of BlackRock that deals only in the mining area is false. His portfolio has heavy BlackRock, Vanguard, all of the major areas that most mutual funds include at this point. It includes that, and he's got a shitload of money in it. He's rich. He is not in our class, but there is no truth. There is no discernible truth at this moment to actually have any belief system that he is directly tied to any of the lithium deposits that are in the ground in North Carolina. I want to stress that.
I think there's a lot of I think that, like, if you're a person that has assets, specifically large quantities of assets in the millions, and not even in the millions, if you start investing into different buckets, let's say you even have a financial advisor, it's highly probable that you would have your fingers involved in a multitude of different things. Like, for example, I think that Pfizer, for example, is like one of the most evil demon type corporations there are. Yet I noticed the other day that I have a dividend yielding healthcare index fund that I own that has a very small position in Pfizer. So I have like 1/4 of a share of Pfizer in this big pile. So, like, if there was to ever to be some gotcha moment with a person like me, and let's say I invest more into that product over time, somebody could be like, "Look, you're invested in Pfizer." So I think that is definitely, exacerbated by the amount of money that a person has invested. So maybe he does have that, but it probably could be in a bucket with a multitude of other things.
Right. We've done this. We went the rounds with this with Vivek. We went the rounds with this with many politicians over the years. It just proves that they have money, they're investing in places, and they allow somebody else to manage that group of money. It's not necessarily their choice. And so look into it, analyze it, but it doesn't mean a whole lot is what that means.
I mean, the big takeaway is the fact that, they talk about these are just everyday people, and as opposed to Donald Trump being a billionaire, where Doug's worth anywhere from 15 million, which I think is a very low number, to hundreds of millions of dollars, which I think is probably more accurate. If you're making $1 million to $2 million a year as a lawyer, and you're doing that for 20 or 30 years, and you've invested, saying that the internet saying his net worth is 10 or $15 million is clearly bullshit. So these are not. Let's not think that these are folksy people that grew up in a middle class family that have struggled.
Hey, I Google myself and see what my net worth is. It says I'm worth nothing, and that's very valid. So how can you tell me that's wrong?
Accurate. All right. So next up, let's since Columbus Day is fleeting, it was yesterday. Bobby, take us through your dissertation on Columbus Day.
I mean, I basically just said that, like there's really only one. There's only really only one mainstream, I guess you could say, Italian American person that was ever honored in American history, and that would be Christopher Columbus. It's the only Italian that gets acknowledged. There's never been an Italian president of the United States or a president that has any Italian descent, and the most significant Italian politician right now is Ron DeSantis, interestingly enough. But I think that, like, generally speaking, to pretend that something that happened 500 years ago and to hold it to today's standards is preposterous in and of itself. And the video that I made was specifically going at Gretchen Whitmer for calling it Indigenous Peoples Day. And it's like, dude, you're talking about something, you're comparing something with today's scope of morality with something that happened 200 years before the United States was even founded. To pretend like this guy, as bad as they want to paint him or not, was somehow emblematic of this like nation built upon oppression and violence is, first of all, wholly inaccurate. Secondly, there's a lot of freaking Native Americans that were raping and killing and pillaging and doing lots of horrible, horrendous, unspeakable shit. And on top of all that, let's just say that your morality compass means that he is a person that you don't like now. To pretend that he didn't exist or to remove the statue of him, so to speak, in the date would be to disrespect history, as bad as it may be. What are you gonna? Is it George Floyd Day now? Is that what we're gonna do next? We're having George Floyd's birthday. Like, we live in a dumpster, basically.
So I have very they've shifted beliefs on the Native American, aka Indian community, which I now call Indian because don't really care. But I
bold,
yeah. So there and I had, actually, it's funny, I had this conversation with somebody today. I believe the individual, and I know a lot of Indians that are great people and they're very nice and they're very kind, especially ones that are more assimilated into the American way of life. A large portion of the reservation Indians are pieces of shit. They are just they're shitty humans. Yeah. And does that mean all of them? No, but they have rights on their land where they take advantage of American laws and American people. They are cruel. Like, my mom's a shaman. She studied, and I've talked about this a couple times on the show, but she studied to be a shaman. She embraced their culture, and instead of them saying, "Oh, we like when people do this," they are incredibly cruel to her on social media. They're cruel in person. I just can't get with it. And if you look at the history, like you kind of mentioned, you touched on, when it comes to us as colonizers, the actual truth is somewhere in the middle of the story of illness and us taking over their people. But there's a lot of documentation that we make them out to be these idiots and rubes. When in all reality, they just didn't have the same weaponry we had, which is the way that societies evolve. A stronger society comes in and they take them over. Just like the Indians, that when they had more savage tribes, they took over the less savage tribes. They were not these like amazing peaceful people that are just over there smoking the peace pipe and being like, we were good until white man came. They also had some pretty major issues, and they played a political game, and they fortunately lost, because that's why we're here today. And the apologists for those people need to realize that if you are so upset about America being a colonizer and us taking over the Native Americans, and honestly, the Christopher Columbus story is also not fully accurate on where he landed. You can have a whole discussion about that. But fact is, at the end of the day, the people bitching about it wouldn't even have been born. So shut the fuck up. Mm-hmm. Like, I always use the reference of, if you want to get yourself back into your mother's vagina, your mother get into the next vagina, and you go vaginas down the road, you never existed. Like, you have to, if you are so apologetic, then why don't you crawl back into your parents' womb or your mother's womb? Period.
Dude, you want to know something crazy? I was talking to somebody the other day about how the government is the only thing that creates monopolies. You know, without government, there would be no monopolies. The free market would solve these things as it were. Well, tickle my bag on this one. I live in the state of Florida. I was just with some buddies at a bachelor party a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Hey, do you ever try sports betting?" I don't really gamble that much, but I was like, let me throw $50 at it. Come to find out, the only legal sports betting that you can do in the entire state of Florida is through Hard Rock. Hard Rock is owned by the Seminole Indian tribe, and they control the entire state of Florida's sports betting. So if you want to place a sports bet geographically in the state of Florida, the second largest state or third, I think second largest state by population in the union or in the country, you have to go through Hard Rock. The local Hard Rock Casino, which is here in Fort Lauderdale, makes $2 billion in revenue a month. In a month in revenue. So it's like, if that's not a reparation, if that's not a monopoly to to Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever, these types of things exist all over the country. Yeah, is what happened bad? Sure. Have they not been compensated for that? I don't know. That's debatable. Did they have to be compensated at all? I don't know. That's debatable. So.
It's because their organization's bullshit. So it's like there's all this money coming in, and people are like, "Look at how poor these people are on the reservation." That's got nothing to do with the white man. That's got to do with the fact that they don't actually do shit with their money. They are the worst level of politicians. The people that keep the money are the top of the tribe, and the people that are under it get fucked. And like I have actually, Emily, you know this story with Carly Otero. You know what's going on with her. Sorry, I muted you because go ahead. I got you.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up, that, you know, with what's going on with that situation. Now, I know there's two sides to every story, but basically the child's been taken from the mother. And once something happens on the res, I mean, I could tell you countless stories about them coming and stealing horses from friends of mine. And the police are like, we can't get them off the res. Once the horse is on the res, you can't get them off. And they take it. Oftentimes, not all the time, oftentimes they take advantage of their tribal law, and we get screwed, and there's nothing we can do. And the police can't help us. The FBI has to get involved, and even they have limitations. So I agree with all the points you made.
And there was a story a couple of years ago, because it relates to that story as well, where a well-known horse guy went on to the reservation to get, I think it was a horse or a truck back, got shot in the middle of the chest just showing up. And they could not press charges. And he was very well-known.
I'm sure Kelly's been warned also, but I've been warned, if you're driving up in the north, you take the detour around the reservation, even if it's 8 hours out of your way. You do not drive on there without one of them with you, because if you don't, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, and once they bring it's just shitty. So, anyways, I know we went off the thing, but I have no longer any, and I used to be that guy. I mean, everybody knows I have some liberal beliefs, and even a couple of years ago when I had heavy conservative beliefs, I had an argument with Kevin. If you remember Kevin from the show, we had Kevin and somebody else on. It might have been Suni, and I was the apologist, and I'm like, maybe it's time to think about Indigenous People Day. And then they schooled me, because I do listen, and then I started doing more research after that, and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. That was me. That's on me. My bad. I pulled my Gretchen Whitmer moment 3 years ago.
I was actually waiting for that to be yesterday again, so I was going to be in the comments.
I have zero sympathy towards that group at this point.
Well, they also have favorable status. Like I know a pretty wealthy internet entrepreneur that I had met like 10 years ago, and he was telling me that he was like 4.5% some Indian tribe in Arkansas or whatever, where he lived. And he was like, if I declare this, I'm a minority owned business now. And this guy is like as white as white could be, like as white as apple pie, and like the nicest dude ever. But he's like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to claim this. His 4% Cherokee or whatever it was gives him more favorable loan terms, more favorable favorable borrowing terms, and a multitude of other things. And there's like tax benefits and stuff, I think, from it. So there's a lot of what's it called, affirmative action type things that are happening in other aspects of life aside from
But Bobby, you're being insensitive. That 4% of him, I'm sure, has immense amount of generational trauma that he probably feels the death of Sacagawea every day on his heart.
Yeah, and a lot of them, I think, and I don't know the depth of it because whatever, but a lot of them, I believe, they're entitled to some type of percentage of some type of like distribution, like they get some type of payout as a result of this heritage. And what it ultimately ends up doing is the same kind of thing that happens when you inherit billions of dollars or you win the lottery, where it actually becomes an anchor that hangs around your neck. You become an alcoholic, you have no drive or purpose in life, and you end up like having a Corvette but being a piece of shit or whatever. So yeah.
Booze. So real quick, I love, I mean, obviously we're in an echo chamber. It's mostly our people, but I love when the random trolls pop in. So we've got like Creole, everybody saying hi, you're going in and out, yada, yada, yada. And then Rudy Giuliani is a felon. This was like 5 minutes ago. What? It's like,
hell yeah, that's a putt, right? That's a par going there.
just imagine being that person that hops on a live of 4 people talking about random stuff and just be, Rudy Giuliani is a felon. It's like if Will
Who are you
Ferrell
talking to? Yeah, who is he talking to? We didn't even bring it up, did we?
No. It's just, to me, it's just funny to bring that kind of stuff up. Anyways, what do we got next? Let's go into apparently Cash is watching from the car, I believe. He's not driving because he still doesn't have a driver's license, I don't believe. So it's like his lady is driving this Daisy Champagne. It's in the driver's seat, and Cash is a kept woman. All right, let's
Second gentleman.
Like, just, second. He is the Doug Emero of that situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk. We'll save the Kamala's opportunity agenda for the end of the show. Let's talk Joe Rogan's podcast. So Joe Rogan, it's news right now. It was news a couple days ago that Donald Trump would finally be on Joe Rogan's podcast. Yet there was still some question because it wasn't fully confirmed, but it was talked about enough where it seemed like it was confirmed. So I thought that was interesting. And then today, last night, we're starting to see that Kamala Harris is actually going to take the invite from Joe Rogan to be on the show. The press is using his favorable comments about her after the debate where she did well and saying that he is a Kamala supporter, which he is not in any way, shape, or form. But of course, they're going to do that because they know the pull that Joe Rogan has. But as of right now, both are slated to be on. They're saying that Kamala will be making an appearance. I don't know what that means. This isn't a nighttime talk show. If she sits down with Joe Rogan, I hope that he keeps her to the standard of it's going to be at least a 2-hour conversation, which I cannot imagine that going well for her.
No.
And I can't imagine. Here's the reason why I always said that Trump would not go on Rogan's podcast. And it wasn't about the popularity, but I think it's important for him to go, is Joe Rogan's going to bring out the vaccine. He's going to talk about the vaccine. And I think that doesn't bode well for Trump, obviously. Yeah. But Bobby, what do you think?
No, I have I think probably an unpopular opinion on this. I think that this would actually help Kamala a lot, and I think it would hurt Donnie a lot. Because if anybody was willing to take on Trump and go, I would say almost like more hard than usual against him, it would be Joe Rogan, so that he didn't appear to be soft or giving him the platform, like giving him free run to say whatever he wanted. And then when it comes to Kamala, I think that like she would be absolutely garbage in a 3-hour thing. But here's the other thing. Joe Rogan is not really much of like an interrupter, in my opinion. So is he going to let her rip and maybe it's garbage? I believe that he would call her out on it and have her explain it. But I don't know that he would be like as combative as I think people think he would. And even though I think it would be bad for him or for her, I think it probably actually would end up being worse for Donnie, because he would feel inclined to go harder at him than anyone ever has. I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it'll be the best thing ever. It'll either be that way or it'll basically like end the election and Donnie wins. That's like, I think the only two ways it goes.
Trending that way now, thank God. But yeah, I'm tentative. I think he'll go just as hard on Kamala. So in my head,
I hope.
I do. I think he will, because I think he with being friends with Elon, being now very pretty decent friends with RFK Jr. I think that he knows what's at stake. I think Joe Rogan knows that Trump needs to win this election. I think he's on that path. Yeah, I know he doesn't like Trump, but I think that he knows that what the stakes are. So I think he'll be. I think at worst he'll be even-handed.
Yeah, I mean he could end her campaign single-handedly. There's no doubt. Like the amount of clips that would come out of that would be damning. So I don't think she's gonna do it, to be honest. But
I can't imagine her actually sitting down and doing it and then making it.
Nope.
Well, Joe said he goes 3 hours if he really likes the guest, and if it's shorter, that means he didn't like the guest. So obviously, I don't know how you'd get to talk to her for longer than 30 minutes. I mean, she's just an empty shell. Like, what could she talk about? She's just the puppet changed hands, and she's it. There's just not much she could speak about. He could go hard on her, but I don't even know if he goes hard on her. I mean, I agree it could be damning, but then I don't even, maybe it wouldn't be because she's just, there's nothing to her.
Right. Like she could, that's what I was saying. It's like she could, even though her stuff is garbage, it's like, does he really want to press her that hard, or does he want to, because it's not his job. Like it's his job, but is it, you know what I'm saying? Like, is he going to go and hit her on very specific facts? I don't know. And if he doesn't, it helps her a lot.
Yes.
So I don't know. I feel like it would be like such a wild bet that if her campaign did it, it would be the most watched thing maybe like in history.
I don't know if you guys ever watched the podcast he did when he had on Tim Pool and Jack Dorsey and the other person. And I mean, they went hard on them, in my opinion. I mean, definitely having Tim there helped. So I don't know if he'd bring someone else on. I kind of think he might with both of them. But I agree. I think he knows what's at stake here. And I don't think he would try and do anything to hurt Trump. I don't think he cares about his ego and wanting to, come across as drilling down on Trump hard. I could be wrong, but
I wish he conducted the debate. I think that's what everybody wanted from the jump. If it was like literally just them in a room, it would be the most significant piece of media to be released in decades.
100%.
So what if this story happens? This is a wild theory, a wild thing. What if we were to say Joe Rogan proposes both of them to come to the same day, same time, but not tell the other party?
I don't think you could do that.
That'd be freaking hilarious.
The
Secret Service.
The security, there'd be no way to do that.
It would be awesome. I did think
I would love that.
Yeah.
He just bamboozles them both.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
And then Tim Walz is like in the rafters.
Did we do that? I'm so sorry. I thought that I had you. My bad. Oh, let's just sit down. Go ahead and sit. The doors are locked. That'd be great. Did you watch the Andrew Schultz interview with Donald Trump?
I did. I watched it today.
God, it's funny.
It's funny. He was on fire. He was hilarious.
And
Trump.
Schultz challenged him more than anybody else has.
I agree.
I mean, he pushed the abortion topic. He pushed. He pushed some of the issues he has with not telling the truth. Pushed some of the issues with embellishment. It was interesting. I thought it was worth watching, and I think that to me would be a preview of Joe Rogan. The only thing that I think that would go above and beyond it would be the corruption with pharma, and I think that's where it could hurt Trump. And also, if he decides where it could hurt Trump is on the independents that are the moderates that are still trying to decide, but they're juiced and boosted. And, they've got a very big belief system. Like, I really don't like Kamala, but I thank God for the vaccine. And then if he gets on there and he takes a couple steps back and goes, well, I see what I did wrong. And then all of a sudden they go, oh my God, he doesn't even believe in that anymore. And then you're right. I think it could hurt him more than help him. What I want to find interesting, I don't know if anybody searched this. So I took a screen grab on my phone. If you go on Google and you Google Donald Trump on Joe Rogan I was trying to see if it would be, what the chances of it being on, or if they're definitely shooting or anything like that. All I got this morning was Kamala Harris news. Kamala Harris to go on Joe Rogan. Kamala Harris might be on Joe Rogan. Kamala Harris agrees to sit down with Joe Rogan. Kamala Harris, all these different things. So did you just do that? Did you search it? I can't see very well.
Yeah, it's all mentioned Harris. A couple of them mentioned Donald Trump in here, but
you have to go down the line. Yeah. So if you search that on DuckDuckGo and you search Donald Trump on Joe Rogan, what comes up is articles about Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan. So it just shows the power of Google to be able to manipulate the searches like that. Yep. When people talk about the unfair, like, do you believe the election's stolen, or do you believe it's an unfair election? It's like, it doesn't even matter what happens at the ballot box when you see this kind of information meddling all the way from Hunter Biden to now. And the fact that it's the media, it's the search engines, it's the fact that Alexa will give you information on why Kamala will be a great president. Alexa will give you information why Kamala will be great and why Trump will not. Like, it goes so far beyond just what happens at the ballot box, in my honest opinion. And that's what scares me, is like the fact that we're in a country right now with every media going against Donald Trump, every not every, I hate to speak in absolutes, 90% of the media going against Donald Trump. Social media, except for X, having a pretty heavy proclivity to the left. Academia is now at a rate that it's never seen before. Over 90% of collegiate professors, college professors, are leftists and liberal and Democrats. That's over 90% of what people are being taught. The fact that we live in a country that is still going to be 50-50 split shows you how insane the leftist logic and ideology is, in my opinion. Bobby, what do you think about that concept that goes above and beyond what happens at the ballot box?
Yeah, I mean, if we had a fair and balanced and even-handed media, if we had real journalists, if we didn't have, left-leaning technocrats in control of the way the information flows, the United States would be staunchly Republican and staunchly conservative, and we would be more independent globally. We would be more independently wealthy and stronger personally. We'd probably be a lot healthier, and just a multitude of, and we certainly would be richer as individuals. Not to say that everything that happens on the right is good, but I heard a thing today where it was just like, Kamala Harris has the support of every major news media and mainstream media source for the most part in the country, all of the social media platforms with the exception of X, and $1 billion in the bank, and it's neck and neck. It's like imagine if she didn't have those things, like how far and away Donnie would be. And like the thing that a lot of people hate to hear, which whatever, don't come for me. It's like if you had a guy that represented the same policies as Donnie that didn't put his foot in his mouth so much, cough, cough, Ron DeSantis, perhaps, I think we'd be blowing them off the chart. Now, not to say that DeSantis is better in this moment and everybody freaks out and tries to throw one in my dirt star every time I say that. But in the event that you had like a more polished person that wasn't saying those types of things, I think we'd be far and away, even despite that, which lends itself further to the idea that America would be a primarily conservative country, a Republican country, if it weren't for all of these fingers on the scale.
I agree. We got Cash in the building. So really quick before we say hi to the really, really late Cashley Kelly, not the late like dying Cashley Kelly, but late for the show. I want to get a better view. I don't like this view. There we go.
What are you in the darkness, dude? Turn a light on.
Yo,
what are you doing?
He's
my
black,
bad, bro.
Yeah, you're like, turn on a light.
He said I'm black.
Really quick.
Nobody's that black.
Yeah. Bobby, the thing with DeSantis, and I've gone back and forth because I agree. I think DeSantis at this point would be a better choice. However, DeSantis is very hard on the abortion topic. And I believe as though Trump pumping the brakes a little bit has actually helped him. The problem is the media hasn't let it help him. I think it could help him in the next couple of weeks, but I think DeSantis being hard on that subject would actually be the only thing that could hurt him on that level.
I don't mean to get into like back into the Donnie DeSantis debate of yesteryear. What I basically was just saying is if you had a person that was saying a different, like Ron DeSantis is not at a rally being like, you're fat, you're ugly, I'm better looking than you. So I'm just saying like at the most base level, that is what I mean. And it's not even DeSantis. It could be anybody else. Put Rand Paul in there. I'm just saying a person that didn't say that represented that series of ideals in a political climate such as this, with all of these bad things, I think he would be doing even better if he wasn't like, I'm better looking than you are. I don't know.
I just think the future of the Republican Party is so bright. You look at obviously J.D. Vance, DeSantis, Vivek, and the one thing that I hope they take from Trump is his stance, his more state by state stance on abortion, and recognize that topic is bigger than the media portrays it. I think the media says it's a big deal, but it's not as big as we thought. I think they're lying because it allows the Republicans to keep going like, we're going to push that topic. And you could be pro-life. I firmly believe being pro-life is the right way to believe. But when we're forcing a degenerate society in many ways to believe something, I think it hurts on a level where there's more important topics, in my honest opinion. Cash, What's up, man?
Yo, man, I'm so sorry I'm late. Can y'all hear me okay?
What?
Well,
yes.
I can't stand you, bro. No, I'm so sorry I'm late, you guys. That's totally on me. But Nova came up unexpectedly. She came here today, and I had to go get stuff for her. So, and then it started hailing outside, and I don't know if we got like a sensor problem in the car, but once you turn the windshield wipers on and the defroster, then the battery starts flickering on and off, and all the lights go on, and then the speedometer goes down, and it's crazy. So it was just an adventure.
The blackest story I have ever heard.
It was dope, bro. I had a good time. It was scary as hell.
That sounds like a Kamala Harris excuse.
Yeah,
All right.
actually, Kamala Harris in a
From a middle class
rally,
family.
she's telling the story for a black audience. When I was younger, we had these windshield wipers that caused the whole car to shut down. I grew up just like you.
Yeah.
Fake news. Everyone knows that is a lie. I didn't even know she was black. I just found out they said, oh, Kamala, she says she's black now. I say, really? That's interesting. I always thought she liked curry.
Yes. Bobby, if you missed it, I'm getting Cash to do Trump raps, and they're fire. They're absolute
It was
fire
fun.
rap.
It was fun.
He
All
did.
right.
Did some good ones. I told him, I go, if you can make whole like tracks of this, it will be the most viral content you ever create.
What a voice change so that it's Trump?
No, I mean, it's not really a voice change. It's just a megaphone effect. So I just hit that button right there and it makes like this. And then I talk like Trump. So I'll be like,
Okay. Big Donnie on the track. About to lay one down.
What's his name already does those? There's a guy that does AI voice changed raps from the perspective of Trump.
But that's AI. That's not a
No.
black guy doing Cash rap.
He's a white rapper. He's the guy that rapped with Jimmy Levy on what's it called?
Really?
Yes.
I gotta see this.
Yeah, he has a bunch of them. He created he makes like voice modified for it to sound like Trump, puts it through through audio engineering, and he raps the song, and it sounds like Trump is rapping the song.
I was just having fun.
His name leaves me at the moment, but he
High Res?
High Res. Yeah.
Oh, high res. Okay.
Yeah, he has them on Spotify and stuff.
All right. You got it. Now you got to be better than high res, Cash. That's what you got to do. All right.
That's his lane. I don't want to infringe on his thing. That's his thing. I just did it for fun.
You were so good. It was so funny, and it was you were doing it off the
right off the top of the dome.
All right.
Yeah.
Final topic of the show. Glad you could join us, Cash, for the final topic of the show, and then
Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad. All right, so we're going to talk about I wanted to see if you were going to show up because we're going to talk about Kamala's opportunity agenda for black men. Is this a real? It's not a real solution. Election, but go ahead and Casey, do you want to intro the topic? And I know Bobby did a video.
I'm going to pull it up because Kamala posted this, I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, last night. Harris Walz policy: Kamala Harris will create an opportunity agenda for black men. Provide $1 million in loans that are fully forgivable up to $200K for black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. Support education training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to become teachers. Okay. This one is where it starts getting super weird for me. Protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who make them know their money is safe. Like
what?
Yeah. Okay.
Just so black men's money is safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next one is launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact black men. Monkeypox. All right.
What? Really? What the fuck was that?
That's gay, man. God, you're racist.
Legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this new industry. Like, all of this is just off the wall. Like, where did this come from?
Notice that Trump created, he added to the till for historically black colleges, HBCUs, and they deem him a racist. Whereas in Kamala's specific agenda for black men, she's talking about giving out, legalizing recreational marijuana and creating opportunities. So we're going to legalize weed, and this is how we're creating an opportunity agenda for black men. A drug that is something that slows the ability to actually achieve and do things. Not that there's anything wrong with weed. There's a purpose.
It's a performance-enhancing drug in sports, Russo.
It's not. But regardless, I think that this is as ridiculous as humanly possible. Cash, do you want to admonish Casey for calling monkey?
Casey, that was some racist. I've never heard you say anything like that before. That kind of hurt. It kind of stung a little bit because I'm gonna be the one to do it. I'm gonna create a fake profile tomorrow, and I'm gonna go back on this show, and I'm gonna clip that out, and and I did my expression on purpose so I could put my expression when you said it. What the fucking in the. And then it's going to have a mic drop like, and it's going to be like, this is what white MAGA thinks of black people. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do that. I'm going to clip it. It's going to be you, Casey. You were wrong for that. And you owe the black community an apology. Just like this degenerate with this policy that she's trying to come up with right now, acting like we all didn't, understood what was going on with Obama. I got it. I know why she's doing this. This is a desperate attempt because Obama's like, listen, Kamala, you're losing the black vote. Black men, the brothers, they don't want to deal with you. They want nothing to do with you. And I don't know what to do here, which is unlike me. So do something. So she just scribbled this stuff down and put it out there like, look, it says black men in the title, even though everything underneath it is ridiculous. It's got black men in the title. It's for you, black men. Casey, apologize.
Apologize? For Kamala's thing?
No, apologize for saying that the black community gets monkeypox.
When he was talking about monkeypox, he was talking about Obama because he's a gay black man.
Yeah, well, no, we know Obama and Tim Walz, they're best friends. It's how everything's going to be coming about. We'll have the next virus. I'm just saying that's kind of harsh. Lucky I'm not a snowflake. No, but real talk though, bro. With everything that she just put forward on there it's BS, man. It's BS. And I mean, I don't understand the whole protect the black man's cryptocurrency. I don't got cryptocurrency. I mean, I got a couple little things, but protect it from who? I mean,
yeah, and why just black men? Isn't this against I'm pretty sure these are against the Civil Rights Act. I don't think you can just give free money to black people. I'm pretty sure you. No,
you could do that. You could do that. You could do that now.
Can you?
Yeah, reparations coming soon.
Oh well, okay. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even know that you can even do that. But it is absolutely hilarious that they do opportunity for black men and they throw recreational marijuana in there. Like you couldn't make another one that was specifically about, let's say, like justice reform or something. Like you literally have to throw it in. I made a joke on my page when I made a video about this, and I'm like, I'm surprised they didn't include like free studio sessions and mixtape distribution.
Oh, she'd get my vote. She would get my vote.
And Henny on Fridays, $20 off at the cookout.
Hey, it's all I was waiting for her to say, because that was kind of ridiculous. All I was waiting for her to say was, we're gonna throw in some snow bunnies. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna give out free Jordans. Just everything. I was waiting for all of that because I'm like, yo, she already. I mean, come on, you doing this too much. You doing too much.
I think
she plays too hard in the stereotypes when she thinks of policies. That's what it is.
I think it's something bigger at play, because I don't think the black male vote makes that much of a difference, because like the percentages, like Trump's looking at 20%. Great. That doesn't mean anything on a larger scale. And I don't think in the states that are swing states, I don't think it matters. But the perception, when you have people like Cash or other black male strong voices speaking out, it's kind of the last 25 years of culture is whatever the black community is into, the white liberal or the white moderate liberal community follows. So if they start to see it changes the perception, and it's also for young people too. If you start to see the strong black male voice get out there and be like, hell yeah, I'm voting for Trump, rapper saying I'm voting for Trump, it messes with the psyche of what they think is their almost lock voter, their middle grounder that doesn't like Trump.
We getting back on our Malcolm X. We getting back on our Malcolm X stuff over this way, bro. A lot of black men, I'm telling you, and that's it's scaring the hell out of them, because right now, only thing that they got is gay black guys and super offensive black women who think that they're the man. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Everybody that's got a brain, an educated black woman, and a brother that ain't playing into the politics and is educated himself. Even if he hood as hell, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, we not messing with Kamala. We voting Trump. We understand, and it scares the hell out of them, because once that wave happens, like you said, and I'm glad you gave that recognition, Russo, because that's the truth. They don't get the credit, none of us get the credit for it, but most black entertainers do set the trends. That's the truth. They set the trends. And with that, it's not just going to affect. This is what's really scaring them. It's not that they're going to switch over black people. They're going to switch over the next wave of white liberal boys that's coming up into becoming men, because white liberal men listen to a whole bunch of black entertainment. That's the truth. So it's switching up the whole, and the Latino young men all listen to black entertainers. So with us being the trendsetters, they're like, oh shit, we got to do something here. And they panicked and they came out with, I mean, ain't nobody ski masking up and going to robbing nobody for their crypto. You know what I'm saying? It's not happening.
Well, generally speaking, I think that if you've spent the last 15 or 20 years telling black men or black people in general that everybody is out against you, especially the white person, you essentially make this group more tribal in and of itself. We got to protect ours, right? And you can see this in pop culture where like literally black entertainers, they'll be like, who do you want to win the Oscars? They're like, black people. They literally say it flat out. So I think what the real question is that in the event that the black vote does shift in the other direction, they all go with it. And I think that is really the significance of it. I don't think that white people are as tribal as black people are, because they've been taught for the last however many years that everybody hates you but your own people. You got to support your own. Whereas like that's never really been something that I've heard in, I guess you could call it white culture, if that's even a word. It's never like, well, you got to lift up your fellow whites, vote for the whites. Like I've never heard that.
I mean, it just depends on the culture, because you got a very big fraction of, well, they're a big, small fraction
more of us.
Yeah, no, of MAGA I'm talking about, of like the MAGA thing that's like super white supremacists, swastikas and all of that. And they like, we got to support the white man and we got to make America white again. And they saying all those kind of things. So that's
that's a subset of subset.
Right.
People.
But that's the same exact thing within the black community, because if you look right now, even when you look at the statistics, there are more black people in middle class right now than there is in poverty. That's a real statistic. But they promote this victimhood mentality on the black community to make it to where when you got that little part that is tribal, that still goes by the gang culture or whatever it is, that they take on to that mentality. But there's so many more black successful stories in this country that it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So they want us to look at it like that. They want us to, instead of seeing the white person that's not a white supremacist, that doesn't support no neo-Nazis or anything like that, instead, they want us to see, oh, this small fraction is what all the white people represent. Same way they try to get everybody to look at the black community. This small portion over here that might be ignorant and want to, do the wrong things and have that tribal mentality does not represent the whole of the black community. The whole of the black community, majority of the black community, we're doing good. We're doing pretty good in this country. So yeah, I mean, you're right.
Question. I want to wrap it up. I'm trying to find this clip. Casey, did you see my message out of curiosity? I'm trying to find something to end on. I kind of forgot about this. It's a good, funny thing to end on. I'm sure that everybody here saw it. I can't find the actual clip. I'm looking for it right now.
Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton. Did you guys all see Bill Clinton essentially campaigning for Trump?
Yeah.
Yes. I thought that was brilliant. So many people remix it that I was like, man, I didn't even know point. It was great though.
Find that if anybody hasn't seen this, it's fascinating to me because you could tell that he didn't know what to do. Like he really had no idea. He's like, why am I saying this? And then he didn't know how to spiral out of it. We're looking for this clip. If
is it just quick 20 seconds talking about if we would have vetted immigrants?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a little bit more to it, but this one is it.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. Like if they're all properly vetted, that doesn't happen.
I'm Donald J. Trump. This message.
Bro, I'm telling you, I swear to y'all, bro, I'm not kidding you. Remember that little theory that I made a while ago of why they put Kamala in the first place? It's because they all just trying to get their money. She's not going to win. It seems like everybody's against her, bro. It seems that way.
Joe Biden at this point.
Bro, the only reason people speak good about Kamala is because of social media influencers that take their time to come on and make little videos like that one dude, the one, that brother, he goes on TikTok and he's always loud and he's like, I can't believe you motherfuckers doing all of that. He's going after a specific vote. You can have those. We cool with that. But that's the only reason why there's anything good in the media about Kamala. There's nothing good to be said about her. Even her own party, the people that are out there he's campaigning for her. He was doing such a good job that Trump was able to clip that and make it part of his campaign message. Like, come on. This is we're living in a clown world. The world is a stage, and she's set up to fail on that bad boy, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he went on and said something else afterwards. It was also very funny. It was continuing on with the border issue. He said we need a proper vetting process or so. I mean, it was very clear. By the way, with that last thing, it's amazing to me, if I'm going to be a spoiler here, but Bill Clinton is 3 months younger than Donald Trump. He's got liver spots all over his face. He literally looks like Kelly's got liver spots. So go ahead, Cash.
Yo, bro, truth seeker, bro. Malcolm X is one of the most brilliant and efficient people when it came to studying, okay, and speaking and putting his thoughts out, orating what he really meant to say. If he would have meant to say Democrats, he would have said Democrats. He specifically said Democrats, bro.
He says
specifically.
Liberal. He says liberal.
No, he said white liberal.
He says liberal.
In another speech, he was talking directly about Democrats. In his book, he's talking about Democrats. But yes, the white liberal is one of the most famous ones that people heard. But 100%, if he was talking about Republicans, he would have wrote it in his books. He would have wrote about the Republicans. He talked about the white liberal and Democrats specifically. Just saying.
And really quick, Bobby, the other thing was in 1964, you're starting to talk about the shift. You're right. There was a shift, but that shift happened there. And that Democrat Party, Lyndon B. Johnson, then said that if we pass the Civil Rights Act, we will have them voting Democrat for the rest of their lives.
For the next 200 years.
For the next 200 years.
He said, we're going to have these niggas voting Democrat for the next 200 years. That's what he said.
You seen Uncle Tom 1 and Uncle Tom 2, those movies, the documentaries? Yeah. Amazing. And he actually if I remember correctly, he makes a case for why the Civil Rights Act actually set black people back quite a bit.
It did.
Yeah. How about that, truth seeker, motherfucker?
Real talk.
Watched Uncle Tom 2, bro, like me, fellow white.
We had Cash and Chad actually, when Cash just got out of jail or prison, we had him and Chad have a debate because, you know, Chad's opinion on Martin Luther King Jr. is not a good opinion. And Cash still holds on to and I'm somewhere in the middle.
No, I don't. I don't hold on to it. Not like that. Not like how I was when I did the studying like I told him I would do. So in doing my own little research and my own digging, it kind of switched my opinion up a little bit. But I still say that King didn't know what was going on until it was too late. That was what it was.
And when
at first,
figured it out, he got killed.
Yeah, exactly. But even with that, like, he was a player. Now that part, my man was a player. So you got to think about it. It's like you're a young dude. Yeah, you're a young dude, and now you got the world at your fingertips, and you're trying to be right, but you don't even exactly know what's right. You just know what you believe in yourself to be right. So now you're on this journey. So yes and no, I will say for Chad.
Okay. And Chad. That's how I feel about him too. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. So let's start with final words from Emily Maga Mangione.
I guess in light of what we talked about today, just make sure you're fact checking everything, even if it's supporting your own viewpoint. Always fact check.
Bobby, so some of the things you brought up earlier regarding foreign nation, like just this, where Donald Trump, the opinion on Trump and kind of the levels. Emily has a great insight. She's how many countries have you traveled to?
34.
34 countries, and she's had a lot of these conversations. And the myth that Donald Trump is hated all over the world is just that. It is a myth, a big time myth. So it's interesting because the white liberal, the white Democrat is like the whole world hates Trump. These things, they don't. It's actually a lie.
They all want him back.
They all want him back. Casey.
Yeah.
Just don't trust the government or certain individuals that spew garbage all over X for a whole bunch of clicks because monetization just changed on that platform. Just be careful.
Yeah. And by the way, it's funny. Right now we've got on Facebook 13 people watching us, YouTube 40. And then between our Instagrams, between Cash, mine, and Casey's, we have over 1,100 people watching, which is just interesting. That's the only place we can have any human being.
That's X, not Instagram, guys. Don't listen to him. That's
Did I say
fake
Instagram?
news.
I'm sorry.
You said Instagram. Fake news.
My bad. My brain's not fully functioning. Cash, before you give your final words, go ahead and talk a little bit about all the different fantastic things that you're doing, like, I don't know, Freedom Box.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're interested in shopping American made, then you need to go to freedomboxinfo.com. It's a great way to support American made business. Get some products that are just out of this world. Well, not really. They're in this world, specifically in this country. Everything is 99% right here in America. So you don't got to worry about nothing coming from China or anywhere else in the godforsaken globe. God help them. But help yourself. Switch to American made products. It's better for you, better for your family, and you can earn an income if you so desire, just by doing what I'm doing right now and telling people, hey, go check out freedomboxinfo.com. It's really that simple. So go there right now, freedomboxinfo.com.
We also, of course, have Century H2O. It is a Patriot-owned company, a water company that goes underneath your sink. They're actually helping out doing a wide range of things from houses also to now they'll soon have some horse dispensary. No, that's what Kamala is proposing for black people. Different story. But yeah, Cash, go ahead.
Water's so clear, you can't even see it.
Because he doesn't have one yet. Okay, so that's how we get it. CenturyH2O.com. Use Russo10 for 10% off of that. And lastly, if you like the gear we've got on, we've got a wide variety of stuff. Just go to wakenotwokestore.com. Use Truth for 20% off. Again, that's wakenotwokestore.com. Use Truth for 20% off. And yeah,
shout out to everybody that's been going because, bro, I don't know if you guys been looking, but you should go and look because more people hit me up on X and Instagram and went to the store. So big shout out to all of you all. I appreciate you.
Love it. And by the way, before Cash does this close, I know you're wearing the First Form shirt, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be, I think at the end of this month, I'm going to be an ambassador for them too. I did my whole little tryout call and all that stuff. It's the best. It really is the best products in fitness. For that kind of stuff. So I will be jumping on that board. By the way, did you see that Sean Whalen and his wife got back together? I found that well, they're dating again. They're redating. Anyways.
I did see that.
They're all part of that kind of similar circle. Bobby, give us your final words. Tell us where people can find you as well. Just repeat it.
Yeah, you can find me at bobbysauce.com or all my socials are linked at followbobby.com, at TakeNaps on Instagram and all the places. About the thing you just mentioned, I think that people that share an overwhelmingly unnecessary quantity of information about their relationship online have the least stable relationship. So I'll just put that out there. I think that's fucking bullshit. It's like, hey guys, I fucked my wife last night. It's like, take it easy, bro. Like you got kids on here. Like you're a psycho. Like maybe shut the hell up. And then they like cheat on them. I hate that. Anyways, like just do nothing. Maybe an anniversary, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe nothing at all. Maybe just love each other in real life, and that's the end of it. Anyhow, I digress. I would just say unfollow those social media accounts that did what Casey said and repost all of this breaking bullshit and lead people in the wrong direction and then sell you the most absolute pile of shit products imaginable. Like third Trump assassination attempt thwarted. Everybody freak out. Patriots, isn't Donnie so strong? They released him on $5,000 bail. That sounds like a assassination attempt. I fucking hate these people, and I think that there's so many grifters that it just makes me just like want to go nuclear on them. So I would just say like unfollow these fucking people because they're liars, or at the very least don't interact or engage with their content because they steal content and they don't credit it. They post the most unsubstantiated, fake, bullshit ass stories. They lead people completely off the scent. They post every clickbaity, garbagey thing, and they have millions of followers as a result. And then they sell you some garbage. And these people are like the grifting, like succubus of the whole movement. So like, if you're gonna contribute, be authentic and be real, and don't be one of these demons.
Would you say the worst of the worst is Matt? Is it Matt Wallace? I think something.
Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace.
No, not Mike Wallace. It's
one of them. Hang on, I got it. He is such a piece of garbage on accident.
And it's all lies. It's literally all lies.
Yo, everybody needs to go right now for real. After this is done, go to Instagram. If you got Instagram, go to Bobby Sauce, man. I'm telling you, will not be disappointed with his content. He's one of my oh, my bad. Take naps. Yo, that's one of my favorite. Every time I see your reels, bro, I swear to God, I sit here and I be cracking up. Just at some of the expressions you make.
Thanks,
It's
bro.
ridiculous.
Appreciate it, man.
It's Matt Wallace. That one's got 2.2 million followers. If you're following, either follow just for shits and grins or don't follow, because every story that he posts is a blatant lie, and he is the perpetrator of that, and it makes us all look really, really, really bad. Oh, look, his last article 47 minutes ago. Urgent warning: a dark force has entered our world. Share this footage quickly before they take it down. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't even know who
that's-
that is, and I'm thankful that I don't. But there's more than what pisses me off the most is that there's people that will post 8 times, 9 times out of 10 great Americana, accurate, great things that we all need to know, and then they'll post something that is complete and absolute horseshit or steal it from somebody else, and then they're just like, buy these knives, Patriot knives, and you're like, fuck you, bro. Like, I hate
Switch
these
to
people.
gold. Get your
Yeah.
gold right now.
And it's not that, and like capitalism and doing advertising, it's the game. I get that. But here's the other thing. If you're going to sell an ad and you're going to send it for some like fake ass crypto course, like also fuck you, dude. Like maybe don't be a piece of shit. Like maybe validate the company. Like maybe have a little bit of integrity, you know? Like I can't stand these people and they piss me off so much. And I have turned down more advertisements than I've accepted because I just didn't like the vibe of whatever it was that they were pushing. And I'm like, I don't want to push my audience to this. And had I secured the bag and then stole content from other people and posted the most clickbaity bullshit, I'd have 2 million followers like all these dudes do. And I just wish that people would really recognize that. So that they stop doing it, because it's really horseshit that they post.
So if you see Bobby
Like it.
selling Patriot boxers, makes your dick look bigger, it's probably not him posting it. He's been internally invaded by aliens, you know, unless they really do
Yes.
make your dick look bigger, and then he might, because then it's a real
Sure.
product. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Cash, take us home.
Russo, what is your weird fascination with other people's dicks? I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
He played
There's
football for Tim
something
Walz.
good.
That's why.
Yes, can you guys hear Kelly when she's chiming in, or is the mic?
Yes.
not on?
No, I can hear. Well, I got headphones
You
on.
can't hear what she's saying though.
Obsessed with dicks.
Hell yeah. That's your man though. That's your man though, dog. Like it's literally your man.
Oh God.
It's like
When
I'm
in
in a gay
Rome.
relationship with a man, because she's very abusive. So there's
I seen that. And then she wants to complain on Facebook talking about she ain't married yet. You better cut that out. You better make that man a sandwich, and then you could get married.
She doesn't even know how to put 2 pieces of whatever. Right.
Going
I'm
off
just
the-
kidding, Kelly.
going off the
Kelly, I'm
rails
a
here.
bigger fan of you than Russo. All right, because Russo backstabbed me. I'm not gonna say why. You remember Russo? We were live on the air. Live on the air.
No, I stabbed you in the back, and that was a gay sex thing. That's what happened.
Oh my goodness, I'm out of here. I'm done. United
You guys
don't fight.
you guys should dock and make up.
What?
Did you know what docking was?
Yes.
You know what
I
docking?
do not.
I just learned. They didn't know what soaking was.
Yo, docking's real, bro.
What kind of? I'm not gay.
I
that's
learned
why I
so
don't know
much tonight. Yeah, I learned a lot.
I'm
right,
done
Kat,
with this
Google-
conversation.
No.
Google docking.
Google. No, dig the hole deeper. That's actually part of docking. Go ahead, Cash. Take us home.
Oh my God.
Oh no, yeah.
Unite, don't fight, be a street light. It's only you can be the change you see in the world. When you get too stressed out, you got to remember to pray, America, because without God, everything falls apart. That's a fact. Woo! Yeah, brother.
Some gay stuff right there. All right.
That was beyond. That was beyond.
Who invited Tim Walz?